What's up, y'all? I'm trying to make this real quick. Super Mike. Make sure everything's going good. Let me know if you're in here. We're going to be doing some, I want to deal with this coercion stuff. There's a lot of people trying to tell us what to do that should be listening. Yeah. So anyway, I just want to kind of I'm just doing a little testing, y'all, just to see if everything's going good. But I think it's going pretty decent. So what I want to get into is, you know, we have a lot of coercion running around, and what this is basically people know when somebody know that you're going to reject them, they want to try to set up a situation, create conditions that will make you ask for a solution, which is the solution that they already want you to accept. For example, if I want you to buy a car, but I know you got a pretty good car, and I know you're already good, and you got your car set, you don't need a car. So maybe I'll sabotage your car. Maybe I'll just, you know, sabotage it in certain ways where it causes you to want to get a new car, right? So what I want to do is, if this technique, this coercive technique is it's not, I mean, it's not new. It's pretty old, but kind of new to us, a lot of us. And I'm just looking at it with these, you know, we got the masks, we got the vaccines coming up. We got all sorts of coercive tactics. You know, there's only one solution. It's only our way or the highway. This type of mindset, this is what I'm trying to deal with today. Where is this coming from? Why do we only have to wear a mask? If masks worked, and then how come people are still getting sick? No, don't question that. You know, you're idiots for even asking certain questions, right? You're being told to quarantine yourself for 14 days if you were around someone who's suspected of having a case of this virus or what have you. These are the type of things that we're being put through in 2020, 2021. You know, and it sounds like a conspiracy theory, but this is our reality, right? This is what we're actually dealing with. And it's very systematic. So, you know, I came across this. Let's try to share this screen. Let's see. This thing. Can everybody see that? Yeah. So this is called Biderman's from Albert Biderman's research on, basically this is a chart of coercion. And according to this particular phase, it's talking about a tool designed to demonstrate and explain the coercive methods of stress manipulation, right? So if I stress you out, and I can manipulate you. Doesn't that make sense? That's not new, but the thing is, this is a science. This is he's a social scientist, and he put these rules, these techniques that pimps use. You know, you have people that play, you know, slave play, where you got these willing slaves. So it's a little sexual issue. People got actual slavery going on. You got techniques that you're using this in prison. This was used in the Abu Ghraib techniques, and these were used. So I want to this is very familiar if you think about it. You need to quarantine for 14 days. See, this is, how do you practically apply this to an entire, excuse me, how do you practically apply this to the entire population of, 360 million Americans? Africa, very low rates of this virus hurting people. Yet we still see countries who are usually European, what do you call them? Former colonies, look like they're current colonies, but they're still putting in these type of restrictions here. Virus restrictions. See, isolation. It deprives the victim of all social support, of their ability to resist. Develops an intense concern with self. This could be home environment. Makes victims dependent. I mean, do we recognize that? So, and they got variations of it: complete solitary confinement, complete or partial isolation, or group isolation. You see? So these are the applications of the thing. And this is the principle. So the monopolization of the perception. See, they fix attention upon immediate predicament. Fix the attention upon immediate predicament. I'm not telling you about all the deaths of flu. I'm not talking about all the deaths of, diabetes, or all the deaths from car accidents. We're not talking about all the deaths from any other circumstance. People died. We had the plague. People had plague before. You don't socially isolate healthy people from that situation. But they monopolize the perception. So the people perceive that's all they're thinking about, this one thing. And if we notice, prior to the election, the news, the media allowed us to focus on the election. After the election, we now are focused back on this issue here, this same issue, this thing that they're trying to get us to, they're coercing us to doing something here. So it says it eliminates information not in compliance with the demands. So your social site, I have to be careful with the language that I use, right? They will eliminate your post, eliminate your video, eliminate your opinions, and it's pushing people into alternate forms of information gathering, media. So then, of course, you're going to, basically, it's going to punish independence and or resistance. Punish independence and or resistance. We should be able to recognize this: physical isolation, darkness, or bright light, restricted movement, monotonous food, the same food. Okay, so you can only do this, you can do that. You see, and humiliation and degradation. So you walk into the store, you don't do something, you get humiliated. You get humiliated. Something that you were able to do perfectly fine last year, you're humiliated. You ask a question, well, we're looking at the statistics, and it looks as if we have basically and roughly the same rate of death every year, even 2020. So why? And what's up with that? You're humiliated for doing that. You could have 30 doctors that stand on the White House steps, certified practicing doctors and scientists, say we can do something different. There's other options. They're humiliated and degraded. Come on now. So then they wear you out. They keep this, relentless pressure, this relentless, oppression, this relentless media assault against your mind, against your defenses, against your conclusions, against your mathematical, factual understanding of physical reality. They continue this, semi-starvation, sleep deprivation, prolonged interrogation, exertion. So you got governors that shut down your whole state, tell all your businesses, shut them down, and then they say essential businesses and non-essential businesses. And they just determine that who eats, who doesn't eat. If this thing was serious, everything should shut down, right? No, not really. No, these are essential. We have to have these. Okay, so those people are able to pass away and not these people? We don't understand why if this is a real, bug here, what's going on? Why can't we just get rid of the whole thing? Gravity doesn't care who's essential and who's not essential, right? So they exhaust you, weakens the mental and a physical ability to resist. They'll threaten you, and there's no other solution. It doesn't matter what you see. It doesn't matter what others come up with. There is a state-sanctioned solution, even though that solution will not actually solve the problem, and that is admitted. The solution simply, they tell you, stops the coercive technique, which is really the problem, not something else. The coercive technique is the main concern of the people, of the person who's being interrogated. They're going to tell you, it's just no reason for you to resist. There's nothing you can do about it. What can you do? What can you do? Confrontation, showing complete control over the victim, forcing trivial demands. You wear that. Otherwise, you're responsible for all that happens. Put that on your face. If you walk outside of your house and you don't have that piece of cloth on your face, or that little piece of cotton, you're gonna pass away, right? So I just wanted to go over that. See, this develops a habit of compliance. See, forcing the trivial demands, especially with the mask, this develops a habit of compliance, enforcement of rules, and it helps the public to be in league with the oppressor to make this happen here. And this is something that this man Biderman He actually put this together, and this is actually these same rules, techniques have been used in family shelter services. Okay, so this is just an example of that. They use this family shelter services in Illinois. Biderman's chart of coercion. This is not some conspiracy theory technique that I pulled out of the middle of the internet somewhere. This is what people use. This is Amnesty International report on torture, New York Farrar Straus, 1973. The same techniques. Okay. Now this one only has but basically the same techniques. Now this man here, this came out in 1956. And the United States Air Force were getting their soldiers or their airmen captured by the Chinese, and the Chinese were using these techniques. They helped develop these techniques. And Biderman, which is the social scientist, this guy who put out this report. So the communist attempts to elicit false confessions. So this is what they were doing, false confessions from Air Force prisoners of war. And that's from Albert Biderman. And this guy, he goes through this as 10 pages. But the bottom line is he lays out these techniques. And then he also lays out techniques of resistance. So the complete resistance, they refuse to cooperate with interrogation. They refuse to engage in any discussion with interrogator, refuses to affirm or deny accusations or respond to implicit accusations, ridicules accusations, refuses to discuss them seriously, responds with indignation to accusations. Defensive resistance makes simple denial of accusations. Let's do this. Simple denial of accusations makes statements or depositions to prove innocence, makes statement that suspicion was reasonable and investigation was reasonable, investigation fair and justified, but protest innocence. A defensive compliance makes a statement possibility that crime was unwittingly committed, makes statement of objective guilt, results were criminal irrespective of the motives, makes ambiguous statements containing no explicit admissions, but which constitutes a confession by implication, agrees to comply, but fails to carry through, writes confession, but refuses to sign it, makes obviously unacceptable sabotage confession, makes deposition with obvious inconsistencies, contradictions, or indications that it was obtained through coercion, accuses associates but maintains own innocence. So this is a defensive compliance, active compliance. They completely confess to criminal tendencies, make statement that his attitude was as criminal as if he had actually committed alleged crime, makes subtly sabotaged confession, incorporates veiled communication to outsiders, but without making confession unacceptable to interrogator. And complete compliance. They accept the objective truth of guilt, shows involuntary symptoms of remorse, accepts guilt as literally true. Okay, so that's the resistance of these interrogation techniques and those coercion methods. So those are the steps of resistance. And this was from the North Korean War. And, so we need to understand this. This is, I recognize some of this stuff. It's been applied. Looks like it's being applied to, looks like it's being applied to the public, the American public. That's what it looks like. Press the thumbs up button, hit the like and share. That's what it looks like to me. Put your comments down if you think so. This is forced compliance. That's what it looks like to me. But what do you think? So this is up to the people out here, because the bottom line is, you know, you're going to need some techniques to resist, because anytime somebody has to force you to accept a thing that you wouldn't have accepted on your own, they can't sell it to you, because obviously you would reject it. So these people, they have to come up with these elaborate schemes in order to get us to accept stuff. And I don't think that's right. So let's look at this here. And that's Carl Levin. He was a senator in Michigan. In 2008, June, Barack Obama was the brand new president. The Committee on the Armed Services in the United States, they scheduled a hearing on received testimony of the origins of aggressive interrogation techniques used in the war on terror. Where is that at? That's kind of like a fake war, right? Because where is the war on terror? You know, they come up with these terminologies that you can't see. The war on drugs, it'll never end. You know, this is unending military. This is justification for unending murder. But okay, war on terror is insane. But the point is, they got these guys down there at Abu Ghraib. You know, they had people. A number of documents were released in the hearing. One of them was the memorandum of the Navy School Training Specialist. And this memorandum reported on training provided by the authors of the memorandum to members of the interrogation control element at Guantanamo. In this memorandum, we read that on the morning of December 31st, 2002, Mr. Ross and I initiated training with an in-depth class on Biderman's principles. Okay, so these principles are used in seriously intense coercion techniques here. And here they got 8 of them enforcing trivial demands, you know, and this is the communist thing, basically. So all those people out there, these are so-called American, you know, patriot type, especially black folks. To me, black people, when you start talking about how you're this is your democracy and you're a patriot, you know, you really, we just don't really look too smart. To me, when you start talking about how you're as a black American man, until we get a real reparations, you know, our grandparents, our parents, our fathers, our ancestors literally fought to make this nation independent, but we were treated as slaves, and we're still to this day treated as second, third-hand citizens. We're not integrated into the mainstream of American society, except as a second-class, you know, citizen. And you're murdered in the street. You're looked at as a minority, meaning you are an other. Okay, a minority is a loser in a democratic society. A loser. You are a minor. Your concerns are minor. Your thoughts are minor. If you accept that word minority, you're not an American. You are a minority. Do you understand that? You see, if you go to Sudan and you're Sudanese, you're Sudanese. If you go to, I don't know, wherever, if it's a nationality, if you're a Russian, you're a Russian. You're not. If you are something, you are that. Now, since if America wants to be a nation, a unified nation, then you need to stop all of this, you know, big and intensifying the differences between people. But it's too late for that, because the country is so fractured now, you know, nobody trusts it. And I don't think the people want to trust this coercive technique that we're being forced into. Here's a situation here. Let's listen to this here.
24 hours, similar to the previous 24 hours, we reported back-to-back days with 113 deaths. Just in the last 14 days, close to 1,000 Californians have lost their lives due to COVID-19. The bottom line is, if we don't act now, our hospital system will be overwhelmed. If we don't act now, we'll continue to see a death rate climb, more lives lost. And that's why today we are pursuant to the blueprint we put out some 14 or so weeks ago, pulling that emergency brake. We've done it sequentially over the course of the last number of weeks, but we're doing it in a much more broad and much more comprehensive way today. We are announcing and introducing a regional stay-at-home order in the state of California, fundamentally predicated on the need to stop gathering with people outside.
Stop gathering, isolate yourself.
To do what you can to keep most of your activities outside, and of course, always most important non-pharmaceutical intervention, that is wear face coverings, wear a mask. Here's what we are introducing today. Regions where the ICU capacity is falling below 15%, we are now mandating that we are implementing a stay-at-home order for 3 weeks. These regions are defined by this slide. We have 5 regions in this state. These regions are considered and constructed based upon pre-existing mutual aid system in the state of California. You may recall a number of months back in Imperial County, we had a situation where their ICUs and hospitals were overwhelmed. We had pre-planned strategies for mutual aid in surge capacity. Again, it's all part of a regional strategy well defined within the hospital and healthcare delivery system. We've defined these 5 regions: Northern California, Greater Sacramento Bay Area, San Joaquin Valley, and the larger region in Southern California. Take a look at what our projections suggest. The 5 regions that we have highlighted, most of these, 4 out of the 5, we anticipate as early as the next day or 2, as early or rather as late as the next week or so, that the Greater Sacramento, Northern California regions, as well as San Joaquin Valley and Southern California regions will have reached that 15% or less ICU capacity. The Bay Area may have a few extra days. Our current projections suggest mid, maybe late December, but all within just the next few weeks, our ICU capacity in the state of California will drop in these 5 regions, not just in the aggregate, reminding you none of us live in the aggregate, but in these regions where we all reside, 40 million of us. The ICU capacity in all of these regions by the end of this month will drop, based on our current projections, below 15% in total capacity. What does a stay-at-home order mean? What is on that list in terms of augmentation and new protocols and new guidelines? Take a look here that we're looking temporary closure when the region is placed in the stay-at-home category. The bars, wineries, personal services, hair salons, and the like will be temporarily closed for that 3-week period. Those sectors that will remain open in this new criteria include schools, bars closed, schools opened that have received waivers with the appropriate oversight and safety protocols that we have advanced and we demand in terms of standards. Critical infrastructure, broadly defined on the previous guidances we have put out. Retail, occupancy at 20% capacity. What we want to avoid is concentrating just in large box retail, too much of concentrated retail activity that actually would induce more mixing, not less. Thus the decision by our health professionals and our advisors, which are ample. We've been reaching out across the spectrum for a number of days now to get insight and valuable consideration that we put into play, made that determination on retail. And restaurants be open, continue to be open for takeout and delivery. And I just want to acknowledge Jacques Conde. I want to acknowledge the California Restaurant Association As a restaurateur myself, as someone who literally started right out of college, opened a small retail business and a restaurant, I deeply empathize and I have deep appreciation for the stress and the struggles our restaurants have had. And I want to just acknowledge the incredible leadership of Jot, his board of directors, and his team. I know how difficult and challenging this is. And I just want to thank them for their insight and for their recognition of this current moment that the state of California is in. We're also establishing a framework where all non-essential travel is as well temporarily restricted statewide.
Verizon 5G is here with a coverage of 5G nationwide and in more and more cities.
Yeah, so sorry about that. Yeah, but the point is, this stuff here, this is not going to be good. When you're using these type of techniques on Americans to force compliance, you're basically saying that democracy is destroyed. You're just done with that little democracy thing. Let's just pretend like let's stop even pretending that exists. You have a military occupation in order to force a semi-medical product that the majority of the people will not take. You bypass decades of safety measures to create a concoction that even people that are some biochemists won't take. I think I've seen something here. Let's see if I even can find that for you. But there's a lot of biochemists that say, well, we're not going to take it. This brother here, Brother Rizza, shout out to Brother Rizza. He always puts it up good. Boost your immune system now. We've learned from history that they will indeed make the population sick in order to provide the solution. Never forget the past. Start increasing your vitamin C intake. These are bottom lines. Hey, got all these. I mean, we need to be sitting up here playing around. These people are not playing. This is one thing I want to show you, though, but I might not be able to find it. Let's see. But anyway, I'm about to be done. I just want y'all to be, careful, y'all. This stuff ain't no joke. It ain't no joke out here. It really ain't. And but we will get through. Let's see. We'll get through it because the bottom line is their power is only temporary. Because when the people understand that there's multiple options, they really don't have, they can't hold out as long as the public. And so people will decide, because the thing is, even with the stay-at-home order here in California, this man's getting resistance from he's getting resistance from all sorts of people, from the sheriffs, from the restaurants associations, from the businesses. It's just not, it doesn't make any factual sense. And they don't want to hear anything, any other alternatives. And see, some of these doctors, such as Fauci, and there's some other agendas going on that I don't think the people are going to be dealing with. They just don't want it. I don't think the people don't want it. So, I think that's all I'm going to go ahead and do. We'll stop that. Yeah. The bottom line, y'all, this is the fall of a situation. And the bottom line is, if we want to survive it, we're going to have to change. And the one thing I want to say is for Black people, especially, all groups for themselves, but, you know, especially Black folks, you know, we are a group, and we are not really dependent on, I mean, we can use the help of other groups in political system in the United States, but there's most of our problems we can solve without their input or intervention. So we have to start just kind of investing more of ourselves. And that's pretty much it. All right, y'all, peace. Have a good day. Have a good Saturday. And peace out. Spread the video, share it. Thanks. And make comments on it. Like and share. Thanks.